I said, Bari Weiss taking over CBS News is basically like, here's this beautiful ship. It's unsinkable. You might want to take the helm. Don't ignore it. Don't pay any attention to that iceberg. I love Bari, but the challenge of, revamping a news organization like CBS is great.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think this is what's happening, right? I mean, you're basically reactive rather than proactively thinking about how to engage the audience. You go from, whether you go from far left to far right, and you bring figures that are polarizing or non-polarizing. I don't think that's the way to do it. And you could see organizations now like CBS and ABC, NBC are sort of struggling. So I think the idea is exactly what you're doing, frankly, what we're doing now, having conversations, long-form conversations, and I'm grateful to have a long-form because the issues are important. People want to hear, and more important, people want to be heard. And I think that's what is needed now from both sides. And that's what I created. I don't call it opinions any longer in our paper. We call it voices.
Good. I agree with you. That's why I don't think linear television news is living any longer. And what's out there now is just on a little life support because people can't stand those stilted conversations. I remember when I was hosting the Kelly File, the primetime show on Fox, I'd prepare, 2 hours for one segment because it was dense and the topic was difficult to understand. The person would come on 6 minutes. You'd have to get up and down on a subject.
Right.
It was so unsatisfying.
Right.
And have to be very honed in on the conversation, make sure that you can just ask the most salient questions. But there's no room for the guest to think, to let his thinking develop or marinate in your thought and you to have a real exchange where like you're actually pondering what the other person's thinking as opposed to just banging through your questions.
Right.
And the audience doesn't know that, technical part of that. They don't know what's going through the anchor's head or she's not listening. They just have a feeling of this isn't satisfying. Right. I'm not enjoying this as much as I enjoy it when I hear an hour-long conversation with this same guest.
And because most answers are nuanced, right? I mean, it's not a black and white. It's not a yes, no, and then a soundbite. And that's what I said. I said, most people want clickbait and sound bites. And as you produce, from my history, for example, in 2016, 17, I think that time frame, Sanjay Gupta did a piece for me for 60 minutes. He came and he visited me for close to 2 years. I mean, it was crazy during the production. But it got reduced to 15 minutes, which is what 60 minutes did. And the good news, they cut it to its essence. And the essence then, believe it or not, was my launch of the natural killer cell.
Yeah, okay.
And fighting tumors. But this is much more, to me at least, satisfying because, as I said, what I'm talking about is relatively complex, but relatively simple. I call it, simple and profound at the same time because it affects people's lives. And, I'm going through a phase now, as I said to you, I'm writing a book, and I thought it would be finished by now, and I decided to cut the book off by half because I'm going through sort of a phase of hope to a phase of despair. And hopefully come back out through that. Mm-hmm. But you can talk.
Let's talk about that because when last we spoke, we talked about the killer T cell. We talked about how you took this injection and you never got COVID. You never. I mean that there's some way of shoring up the T cells. What's the word? What's the special word that Tucker used? BioShield. And I said BioStrike. Yeah. So we're all working with you on the branding, I guess, inadvertently. But that there's this way of getting your own body to fight infections and cancers without first line going to chemotherapy and radiation, and you're seeing real results. So that sounded also hopeful. So to hear you say you're in a period of despair, and I've talked to you privately, so I have some idea, but do you explain that?
So, it was this naive thinking that if you can produce very fundamental first principle science of how your body works, that the FDA, and literally the career, I would call them now career bureaucrats who've been there for 10 or 15 years, would be following the evolution of science rather than staying in the old world of chemo. I've discovered that's not the case.
Buy gold and get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. It's like the Cornelius purchase of gold. Silver and gold all together, thanks to Birch Gold. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of this year, and Birch Gold can help you own it by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they will send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer just for you. They're waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider diversifying your savings into gold. Text MK to the number 989898 for a free info kit and to claim your eligibility for free silver with qualifying purchases. Before the end of the month. Do it before the end of the month. Again, text MK to 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.